Hey, Margie here. I love sharing information about products that can make a big difference for your bones and overall health. And that's what we're going to do today. And one of the products we're going to focus on is black cumin seed oil. And I'm excited about our special guest, Ian Clark. And Ian is the founder of Activation Products. And he embarked on a personal health journey over 20 years ago that led him to discover life-changing products designed to boost vitality and overall well-being. His mission is to support individuals in achieving optimal health by providing solutions that enhance hydration, replenish nutrients, strengthen immunity, and promote both physical and mental wellness. And today, we're going to talk about black cumin seed oil, as well as he has a special type of transdermal magnesium that's also very effective. So lots of great information. Stay tuned. Welcome, Ian. So happy to have you here on the podcast.
Hey, Margie. I'm so happy to be here as well, and I'm sure everyone's going to be enjoying their conversation today. Who all the listeners are, we got some great info.
You know, it's funny because we've known each other for a long time, and I'm just so glad that you're finally coming on the podcast. But before I get started, and because we're going to talk about the black cumin seed oil, which is so amazing, but let's go into how I think your story is so inspirational, and it really explains why you're so passionate about the work you do and what you've created. So you want to share a little bit about your story and how you got to what you do today?
For sure. And we can start for today, and I'll quickly reverse engineer it back, and I'll hit the major points. So I just turned 66 in June of this year, and now I realize that age is of no consequence, because if you're getting healthier every single day, in every single way, a little bit, your body just continues to stay alive, and you feel better and better and better. So I feel better than I've ever felt in my life, by far. And 20 years ago, when I was just turning 46, I hit the wall really hard with some terminal illnesses. Now, they were only terminal based upon the medical profession, but it jarred me. And I had a large tumor that was forming in my perineum, and they said I had to cut it out. And then they wanted to do testing and biopsies, and I wouldn't allow any of that. I was like, it completely freaked me out, because that's in a very sensitive area of the body, and I didn't want any of the male plumbing messed with. And so I was like, why is this happening? I asked all the doctors, why do I have this? I don't understand. Well, they said, we don't know why. We don't have a crystal ball. We just know that this is very common. Men your age have these problems. I had heart disease symptoms as well. And also, I didn't know at the time, but I had a major liver problem. And that showed up within 2 years because I didn't have that tested yet. When I did, they said they don't even know how I was alive. And so when they couldn't answer my questions why, I wouldn't receive their treatments. I wouldn't take their diagnosis. I wouldn't allow any things like cancer to be talked about at all. I didn't believe it was at all, even though it grew and it was there in my body for 7 years. But what I asked, I made a request. And I said, I want to be led to people who have true information in the natural health space. And I don't know who they are. I don't know how to find them. But if I could be led, I would be willing to do whatever it takes. If I have to suffer, so be it. If I have to have fun, that's good too. If I have to spend money, time, I'm wide open. I will do whatever it takes. And that's a pretty daunting thing to say, right? Yeah. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Because you don't really know what's going to be required of you. And what was required of me, because I was so compromised, was actually a tremendous amount of protocols and suffering and detox, and a whole bunch of fun as well. And within the first 3 years, from 2004 to 2007, I met enough people who had enough information that I could use that 3 years I had left to live to get about 5 years. Because, then the testing was showing a little bit better. Within 7 years, I was really out of the woods. I had gotten rid of my liver problem. Heart disease symptoms were non-existent. The tumor, which had grown significantly and became a third testicle and went into the rectum, that eventually diminished. And then over a 2-year period, my body dissolved it out. And I was just doing different detoxes. This is all like fungal detox, like fungal infection problems. I had to deal with heavy metals, yeast overgrowth, candida, all kinds of bacterial blowouts, like bad, and then chemicals. And that was all because I worked in the oil field, in the field itself for 17 years, from the age of 18 to 35, and didn't know that I was being poisoned severely. I also got married to my wife when she was 20, when I was 24. We had 7 children together because we kept trying to have babies to get girls. And we got 5 boys, 2 girls. And we lived in houses because we didn't have a whole lot of money back then. We were living in houses that had mold. And I remember seeing the black mold. I didn't know how deadly it was. So that's where all these fungal infections came from. And anyway, so that set me on this course to realize that there are people on this earth who have the most knowledge at the highest level of each category. That's how I ended up meeting someone like yourself, because I couldn't have found you, Margie. You're not, how would I find you? It'd be like the pin of a needle in the biggest haystack, but when you get into our realm now, once you're on the grid, I started meeting all these people. So you're the person who has the most authoritative information on bone health. And then I met people for brain health and digestive and respiratory and endocrine and circulatory and cardiovascular and so on, structural health. So all of those things are at top level information, but everyone says they have the best information, but that's not always the case. So I was just opening my mind to saying, I know that I don't know. I know that maybe you don't know, but the knowledge is there, and maybe together we could discover these things. And that's how it went. So it was just a matter of catching these master keys. I didn't know that I was ever going to be a natural product manufacturer. That came organically. Because in 2007, I learned about a thing called marine phytoplankton that no one had heard of. And I learned at the same time about transdermal magnesium. And I just noticed that it wasn't available and nobody knew about it. So I told some people in Canada, and they just sort of turned their nose up at it and said, that'll never sell. And so went to California to an Expo West, a Natural Products Expo. It was in Anaheim, March of 2007. And I met some hippies down there who were like just having fun. And they were into natural health and, eating raw food and doing all these interesting things. And they loved it. They were like, what is this? Where do we get it? How can we get it? I said, well, I know where to get it. Well, I want to order 1,000 bottles. I go, 1,000 bottles? Oh, I didn't say that to them. I went, oh, okay. So went home, and within the next 24 months, between 2007 and 2009, we started buying all the raw material we needed, and we set up clean rooms in the basement of our house in Toronto. And all our little children and our big children helped to build this and we just sent product to California. That's it. We had no company, we had no sales, no marketing. We didn't have any financing. We just had to keep buying and selling. The little bit of profits that we made, we did about 2.8 million in sales in that 24 months time without even having a company. And it was just personal money that we kept putting back in. And then that made us take it much more seriously. Today, we have a 70,000 square foot facility here in Cobourg, Ontario, that's fully certified with USDA certified organic, FDA registered, Health Canada site license, and so on. And we produce the highest quality products in our category of anyone we know, because we just wanted to get something of great value to people without having them to spend a whole ton of money. So the least amount of time, least amount of energy, least amount of resources required to get the maximum return. And I was the most compromised person, and now I'm the healthiest 66-year-old I know anywhere on the earth. And that's not a brag, it's just a fact.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm almost 66. I'm pretty healthy.
You are. Well, you're right up there. I'm talking more male, because females are.
I'm just teasing. All right. So let's start. There are a couple products that I want to highlight because I don't think people realize that they're so much benefit for the bone. So let's start with black cumin oil. Now, interestingly, many years ago, probably quite a long time ago, a doctor who I really liked, an integrative doctor, said, you should add black cumin seeds to what you do. That would just be really great for your bones. But what she wanted me to do is actually buy the seeds and then grind them up. And I have to tell you, even though I knew it was a healthy thing, it didn't taste good. It was annoying. And so sometimes you just don't do everything that might be a good thing for you. So I ended up just stopping it, and it didn't feel good going down. So up until your oil, which is easy to take and I feel great on it, I really hadn't used black cumin oil, but numerous people I've met throughout the years have said to me, oh my gosh, this really helped my health. So why don't you share how this can help the bones and what else this does? Like, why is this something so wonderful?
And I love your history on that because you started out with the seeds, and I learned about black cumin seed oil in 2008, 2009. But we couldn't do anything with it because you have to press it properly. And if you process it wrong, you actually damage the oil. It took until 2013 to where we actually were able to process without damage. And then we put it in that Miron glass, that special package. So then, between 2013 and now, we've sold massive amounts of this to people directly. We don't sell it to a distributor who sells it to a health food store who sells it to somebody. We don't get feedback. And the feedback we received directly from people raving about it was phenomenal. And it just got more and more and more. And the world didn't even know about it back then, right? And so around 2020, people started to become more aware. Then a bunch of companies started to produce it. And they weren't doing the same things we were doing, making sure it was certified organic every time and testing all the batches and making sure that it was not processed incorrectly and packaged right. So we started hearing, because the feedback is the most important thing. You could show 700 studies on this oil, by the way, more than 700 studies. But the studies don't mean anything unless you are getting the results and you know how to apply it right. So the very first place it goes normally is in your mouth. Now you could take that and like you have a little situation with your wrist right now. You can rub that right into your skin. It will go in and relieve it. If you have sore muscles, in your neck, for example, you put some on your hand, you rub it in. You can put it in your hair. It really helps your hair follicles and strengthens your hair because that's all part of your structure. And we're talking about structure today. So doing it that way and then putting it in your mouth, what I learned, because I used to just tell people, just take a teaspoon. That's all I would tell them. No, you wait till after a meal. You take 1 teaspoon, you put it in your mouth, you tip your head forward a little bit. You just swish it around for 1 minute only, and that helps the bones in your mouth, which is your teeth and your jaw. And the way it helps is it makes sure it balances the good, friendly bacteria and gets rid of the bad. And it helps the bones because the bacteria is eating away in between in those pockets there, in between the gums and the teeth, which will deteriorate the root relationship with your jaw. And so that stops that. It also stops the decaying because you're dealing with the unfriendly bacteria that will sit there, and it's a nice palate cleanser. And then once you swish it for about a minute, then you just take a little bit of water, not too much because you don't want to drink too much after a meal, and you just swish it back to the back of your mouth and wash it down with water, and it tastes amazing doing that. If you just take the straight up stuff, it takes a little while to get used to it. If somebody has a sore throat, they would gargle it. It'll get rid of that right away. And then once it's done going into your system now is where the real action kicks in. It's known as it's almost a panacea. It's almost too good to be true. It covers so many bases in the body. And the way that it ties into your bone health is it allows your digestive tract to become very ungunked. Like there's a lot of gunk that builds up in the body, and it can plug up the receptors in your intestinal tract where you don't get the proper amount of nutrition coming into your body, which will affect your bone health. And then once it goes through your digestive tract and gets that all cleaned up, now it can go and clean up the rest of your body because your lymphatic system, your blood circulation, and your interstitial fluid, intracellular fluid, that goes and helps to get all the glue out of it. Because I don't put any seed oils in my food. I will not eat food with seed oil in it because seed oil is proven to be an inflammatory in the body because it's, number one, it's adulterated. It's not the kind of fat your body wants. And this particular one is therapeutic and it's unadulterated. So the 2 words that people need to become familiar with, therapeutic seed oils versus seed oils they jam into all the food that's not good for you. This is extremely good for you. And also adulterated is all the oils that are processed in the world. They're damaged, they're harmful, they're inflammatory. This is unadulterated. So it just goes through your whole system. It helps with brain health. It helps with bone structure. It helps with joints. Helps to clean out your organs. It is just across the board. There was a prophecy from a culture in the Middle East from their prophet Muhammad, who said that it cures everything but death. And I don't really like that statement because it says it cures things. Your body heals itself. All you're doing is bringing the black cumin seed oil into your body, which supports your body's innate ability to heal itself back to its original blueprint and keep you young and youthful. Because that's really what your body's trying to do. Your body doesn't want to be aging. It wants to be young. It wants to feel good. You want to feel good. And nothing feels as good as feeling good. So this is a very much of a feel-good oil. But structurally, it's essential because your joints, your connective tissue, your fascia, all those things need to be cleansed. And so this oil cleanses and nourishes at the same time because it has so many nutrients in that oil. And that oil can get in and get all those pathways unplugged, like cardiovascular, respiratory, all your joint connections, your synovial fluid. You need the healthy fats going in. So this is where it shines the brightest on the bone health side of the structural part of your body.
Yeah. Now, interestingly, in terms of it's an anti-inflammatory oil as well. And so much a big part, oftentimes many people have inflammation as one of the root causes of osteoporosis, where the osteoclasts are just, going crazy and breaking down bone. So how does that help in that respect?
Well, by giving your body the ability to get the nutrients to the places where it's got to go. Because when you unplug the pathways and you ungunk all the receptor sites, especially for bones, your osteoblasts, your body wants to get the nutrition, but it's blocked. One of the biggest things that I've discovered, and this is kind of crazy because nobody talks about this, but I always bring it up. Between the age of 20 and 60, your body is going to breathe 160 million liters of air. And just look it up online. Your body will breathe 11,000 liters of air today in a 24-hour period. Your body only has 5 liters of blood in it. That's from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet. You have 86,500 heartbeats a day. Your body will pump 7,200 liters of blood every day. And that's to keep you alive. You're getting so many nutrients out of the air. The problem with the age we live in right now is that we have major contamination, but it's all invisible. Now, it's measurable if you get a $1 million electron microscope. Think about tire dust. There's 1,000 things that are in the air. Let's just take one big one that everybody can relate to immediately, and that's tire dust. So there's no rubber anywhere on the road. There's no big piles of rubber, yet every single year in the United States alone, there's 10 billion pounds of rubber dust from tires that goes up 1.5 miles above all the highways, because the U.S. government in 2009 did a test with helicopters and took air samples, and they didn't run out of tire dust until they were 1.5 miles above. So I started doing an analysis on these stinking tires. They're made of rubber, cotton, epoxies, resins, metals, chemicals, ceramics, and plastics. That's what they're made of. And we're breathing it. So why do people have their hips and their knees wearing out? Because that is an abrasive. When you're breathing these invisible abrasives that accumulate, that are real, your body begins to wear itself out. It will plug your body up. So the black cumin seed oil, plus other things we have that we'll talk about, it goes in to get all the glue, all that gunk out of there, and allows the body to be cleansed. It's a major part of cleansing your body out, to get rid of that stuff you're breathing. And then look at brake dust. Everybody's driven cars that have brakes on it. Brakes wear out. You got to replace them every 40,000 miles. That's just straight up ceramics and heavy metals and composites. It is the nastiest stuff out there. It's your responsibility to get it out of your body. If you don't know to get it out, it's going to accumulate and kill you and wear you out. You don't want to be replacing hips and knees if you can avoid it, right? You've got to avoid those things. Same with shoulders. Like my whole body structurally is perfect. And I was injured significantly when I was a kid working in the oil field. Knee injuries, both my knees were compromised. My left knee severely compromised, torn rotator cuff, broken shoulder, things that I had to work on. And they're just like perfect right now. Like they literally work better than I did, when I was 30 and as good as it was when I was 21. So that didn't happen by chance. That was not the way it was. By the time I was 60, I was in trouble, like really big trouble. And until I amped it up and got protocols. You do this, this, and this. The black cumin is a daily must-have in this age we live in. And so you got to just put it into your regimen. It takes 30 seconds a day to put it in your mouth after a little meal, swish it around. 30 seconds to get it in your mouth, a minute, swish it around, wash it down with water. You'll watch how much that'll change your life. and your structural health.
So how many times a day? What is your recommendation in terms of
Once.
That's what I've been taking today.
Once. Yep.
And
Just once. Pick any meal you like.
how long do you typically tell people till they'll notice something changing?
Well, so they're going to notice a whole bunch of things right away, like especially gut health issues. That helps so fast with gut health issues. But depending on how old the person is and how long they've been compromised and how much they've been exposed to various things, like I was exposed to the oil field. Very few people are exposed to the oil field. So it depends on how much you've been exposed to the contaminations, maybe how close you live to a highway or how far out in the mountains you are, is going to determine how long it's going to take your body to be cleansed. So you'll notice that the first day you take it, you'll notice something positive. And it's not going to throw you into a healing crisis. You're not going to get sick from this stuff. You're just going to feel a little bit better every day. To most people, anywhere between 1 to 3 months, they notice a significant change. And within 6 months, they have really, really affected their body at that point. So we have people calling us at 6 months going, I had acid reflux, GERD. It would not go away. I tried everything. And the only thing that I added in that made the difference was the black cumin seed oil, and it's completely gone. Or a leaky gut, or IBS, like irritable bowel syndrome, or Crohn's, or whatever. And I say, look, it doesn't cure any of those diseases. It just simply gets the stuff out of your body that's causing those things. Because there's, I just don't like the word cure. I love the fact that the body will heal itself. So it happens. You'll notice it immediately, right away.
Now, what about, so you mentioned acid reflux, people who have problems and it's not like a sweet flavor. So do you feel people need to do anything preventatively if someone's having, are there any people that need to be careful taking this or have to take it differently if they do have, certain issues?
Well, the maintenance dose is 1 teaspoon per day. Now, if somebody is really, really ill, like if they've got something serious, like dangerous, they would do that 3 times a day. But if they're generally good health, there's no reason to do it 3 times a day. Once a day is plenty enough, and that bottle will last about 50 days because it's 50 teaspoons. And because it's 250 milliliters and there's 5 milliliters in a teaspoon. But if they are compromised with something, if they have something serious, they can amp it up, and they're going to just, ratio that and just see how they feel. If their bodies are very, very sensitive, they don't want to detox too quickly. So a person is very sensitive, they would just try a little bit more, like do 1 teaspoon, and then maybe try 1.5 teaspoons or another 0.5 teaspoon, and just ramp it up to 3. But if they have a good constitution and they're pretty solid, but they've got something like, I'm not going to name names because that make a medical claim. But if they got something very dangerous, they would do 3 a day.
And is there anybody this would be contraindicated against? I know it's always good to mention it to your healthcare practitioner, but is there anybody that, what about if someone has an ulcer or something like that? Is there anyone who has to be careful with this?
This has 0 contraindications because it's a food base. It's actually a spice. And it has all these different emollients as well that soothes the body. So there was nothing that we've ever heard of or had anyone react from taking the black cumin seed oil in our experience. And we've been doing this for 11 years now.
Fantastic. Well, that's why I was excited. I was excited because I like to share things that I think that I personally like, use, and feel can really help people because there are a lot of people suffering, and unfortunately, and I believe everybody should be in the best health they possibly can. Okay. Anything else you want to share about the black cumin oil before I have a couple other things I want to talk to you about? Anything else on that?
Well, just the reminder to use it topically. Now, when they use it topically, and that's going to also go into the skin and help the bones, help everything, they don't want to use very much. So you get your hands wet, shake the excess water off, put a tiny little bit. They just drip a little bit on there. It will immediately smooth onto your palms. You can put it into your face. It helps immensely in the face, the skin in the face to look younger. It also gets rid of blemishes.
I didn't know about this. When we're working on the skin, because a lot of us do care about our skin, when do we, it's good for wrinkles as well?
It's exceptional for wrinkles.
Wow.
And you do it right before you go to bed. Make absolutely sure that you do not let it come near any of the mucous membranes around your eye because it's a spice and it will not be happy. You don't need to go near the eyes. Just under them, in that little soft area, you can put it there just gently, and along the edge there. But primarily, you're going to massage it in once a week. Women, because women care about their hair more than men, a lot, like 100 times more than men. And so once a week, women will take a teaspoon of it, get their hair wet, smooth it on their thing, and massage it into the scalp. And that's where it helps the bone, the thickness of the hair, the emollients, get it right out through your hair. You might, if you have really long hair, you have to use another teaspoon and get it all the way through, right to the tips. Put on a healthy shower cap, not some plastic thing, right? Something that's like cloth, and it won't let it leak through. And then you go to bed with it. In the morning, you wake up and you just rinse it out.
Oh, wow. I mean, would it work if you just kept it on an hour or two, or you really need to keep it all night?
Oh, no, you don't have to keep it on all night. An hour is going to do remarkable things as well.
Really?
For sure.
I'm so interested. I had no idea about the skin. So should you wet your hands? You're saying you wet your hands before you put it on your face.
Yep, that's right. And just make sure it doesn't drip in the eyes and you're good to go. And don't put it in any mucous membrane area of your body because it will irritate you because it's a spice.
And you can do it once, twice a day if you're working with the skin?
Oh, yeah, you can do it as many times as you want, actually. The more the better, because the faster it works, the more it penetrates.
Oh, well, I'll have to now. If you put other things on, if you put moisturizer or anything like that, do you do this first? This is, what order do you do this in?
Well, this actually eliminates the need for moisturizers because it's such a deep level emollient moisturizer. It's a beauty product. It's literally called Cleopatra's Beauty Secret. For like beauty from the inside out, beauty from the outside in.
Oh, well, I'm excited. I haven't tried. I've been using it, but not for that. So we'll have to test that. Hey, Margie here. As a physical therapist, I know firsthand how important exercise is for our bones, overall health, and happiness. And unfortunately, there's a lot of confusion on what exercises are safe and effective for people with osteoporosis. That's why I created this handout that contains a 30-minute video where I explain the concepts so you understand the do's and don'ts when it comes to exercise. And this is important because this way you can go into any class and know what you should be doing and what you should avoid. Because too many people are doing exercises that actually increase their risk of spinal fractures. I also included videos of me demonstrating effective balance, posture, and weight-bearing exercises you can put into your day right away. So all you need to do to access this handout, it's free, is go to tinyurl.com/osteoporosis exercises. So it's tinyurl.com, again, /osteoporosis exercises, or you can click the link in the show notes. Now back to the show. Okay, second product I think is really, really great is this Ease Magnesium. And I have to tell you about the story on this because I was a little skeptical when you sent this to me because I've tried magnesium spray before and it makes me itch. It's like I find it so uncomfortable that I've actually had to take showers after it. There are certain magnesium creams I've liked, but in terms of a spray, nothing that I've ever found really I could keep on because it was so itchy. So why don't you tell me why this isn't this? So Ian said, just spray it all over, which I did. Do it right before bed, which I did. And oh my gosh, it's the most relaxed. I mean, right away, it happens right away.
Mm-hmm.
Hit that bed and you are so relaxed and your body feels so good. So why is this one not make me itch? I've tried a couple of the brands that do. And why don't you share a little bit about this product that's what started your company, actually.
Yeah, that's right. It was one of our first hero products. The reason that is so unique and special, it is extremely concentrated. So people thought, oh, they're not putting enough in. That's why it doesn't do that. No. It has to do with the raw material that you make the product from. So all the magnesium chlorides in the world are from mining operations. They're basically waste material, and it's not pure. And it's magnesium chloride. That is magnesium chloride hexahydrate. That does not come from a mine at all. It comes out of seawater, but it is a European company that has the technology to get only the magnesium chloride hexahydrate. That's the key. Magnesium chloride hexahydrate is the form that has 6 water molecules attached to every molecule of magnesium chloride. That means It has a hexagonal structure. When you put it on your skin, number one, it's so pure and clean, and it goes right in. That's why there's no itchiness. Now, if a person has very dry skin, some people have dry skin, maybe in their lower legs, it might tingle down there. And within 2 or 3 days, that tingling will go away because it also helps the body hold moisture. So it helps the skin to thicken itself. Because people, as they get older, they get thinner skin. And so therefore, like we checked every product in the market. Of course, we did our research. We wanted to find out. I couldn't believe how uncomfortable all the other ones were. They would literally burn some of them. Other ones would itch a whole bunch. You have to wash them off. And the companies would say, rub it in. You don't have to rub that one in at all. You know, what I do with that on the large surface areas of my body before I go to bed, and I also put it on when I get up in the morning. So I do it twice. And I'll tell you why in a second. But so you put it on the major areas, I spray it. Because it's a spray bottle, if you go down to the lower limbs and you turn it upside down, it stops spraying. So I just keep it upright and I cup my hand so it goes into the palm of my hand, and then I just wipe it. And one of the really important places to wipe it is on your bottom of your feet. Because the bottom of your feet, that skin will absorb really rapidly. So I always put about 7 sprays in my hand, wipe it on the bottom of my feet, and I do that. And then I work up my body all the way. I cover every area. I can't reach my back, right? Unless I have my wife spray it if she's handy. But I really don't need it in my back because it goes in there anyway. So when you put it on your skin all the way up to your neck, and you don't need to spray it in your face, even though it does work on the face, and you can even mist it into your eyes to clean your eyes up, and you can spray it on your teeth. It works with the bone structure of your teeth because it helps to build the enamel stronger again, because it's the raw material your body needs to make that enamel. But it's really strong in the mouth, and you don't swallow it. And you can swallow it. This stuff, you could drink the whole bottle and not harm yourself. But that's not the design of it. It's designed to go into your skin. The reason you wouldn't drink it is because that'll go into your digestive tract, get into your bloodstream, and then dissipate. And it also would tax your kidneys. This never taxes your kidneys. And what we found out, the science of this is that you have your tissue, the meat of your body, your muscles, your connective tissue, your fascia, it will store structurally in that material in your body, and it builds a bank account. You could do magnesium sulfate, for example, like Epsom salts in a bath. That will help to relax you, but there's no structure to it. It won't hold in your tissue. It just goes in and out. This stuff goes in and builds a bank account. It takes around 90 days to build a bank account. And once you have that bank account built up as like a reserve, so that when you have more brain power during the day that you need, or you're doing more physical things, or maybe you're under stress, or maybe there's a little bit of depression or anxiety. Depression and anxiety is 99% of the time related to magnesium deficiency, because you're anxious, but you never want to be anxious. Even if you have a crisis going on, you want to be able to be in equilibrium. So this ties into your parasympathetic nervous system, because you need your sympathetic to get your stuff done, but you don't want to be prevented from getting into deep parasympathetic. The reason you felt so relaxed going to sleep is because it helps your parasympathetic system kick in and put you into a chill, rest and relax and health, digest state.
Yeah, I mean, it felt so good. And the thing is, a lot of people don't realize that, when you do have increased cortisol and increased anxiety, it has such a negative effect on your bones in terms of increasing the activity of the cells that break down your bones and reducing the activity of the bone building cells. So it's a big deal. So I could see how if you're feeling, because it really instantly, you just are so relaxed. And a lot of times, especially before bed, that is a time when people start thinking about their day and getting stressed out and thinking about all the things. So I guess I could see how you could really, I use it just before bed, but you really could use it at other times of day if you just need to sort of chill out and relax. Am I right about that? You can certainly do it at different times. So, yeah.
That's right. A lot of women will just open up their shirt a little bit and just spray it on there because it doesn't have any perfume at all, of course. It's super pure. And it doesn't stay in the clothes. And it will go right in. Like that area of the body will absorb very rapidly. And within 2 minutes, you're going to see a total chill situation. Now, it's not going to put you to sleep because you're not tired. It's going to give you calm energy throughout the day. That's why I put it on in the morning. Keeps me dialed in all day. Make sure my fuel tank is topped up, because I never want to get into a deficiency position ever again. And the other thing, Margie, that is really working deeply on is calcium and magnesium are married. And when there's not enough magnesium, the marriage falls apart. Calcium requires magnesium to get it into the bones. And the magnesium relaxes the muscles where the calcium contracts the muscles. So if you're low on magnesium, that's where the calcium that you would be getting from your food is going to the wrong place. Goes into your cardiovascular system, goes into your joints, goes into your fascia, makes you stiff and sore. That's why when people get older, they start to turn into a statue, because the bones are losing the magnesium or losing the calcium because they don't have enough magnesium. You put the magnesium in and immediately it marries up, and then that will now go to where it's supposed to go in the body, because the body intelligence is so intelligent. It goes, wow, I've got the marriage going on again. So you want to get that. You want to get every calcium molecule married up with the magnesium chloride hexahydrate. And because your body's a walking ocean, you cry a tear, it tastes like ocean water. Sweat, it tastes like ocean water. You have electrolytic fluid in your body. So this helps with hydration, because it's giving you the elements it needs to keep this body hydrated. You're not going to be losing fluid. You're going to get rid of the retained fluid that you shouldn't have, that's poisonous, but you're going to be putting energy. And there's an electrical component to this as well. So this is called the master mineral, because your body is electric. It's measured with EKGs and EEGs and, all of these different measurements that you can measure the electrical of your body. It needs magnesium to produce that good energy. Cellular energy ties in. So your whole body starts to glow and you see a huge upgrade. And this one, like you said, is instantaneous, because within 90 seconds, it's already going in through your bloodstream and into your microcirculation and your lymphatic.
Yeah, no, it's great. Now, for a couple things, I think transdermal magnesium is so wonderful because a lot of people do have issues with absorption and, all sorts of gut issues, so that they're not getting, when they're taking the oral magnesium, sometimes they're not really absorbing it. So this bypass
Right.
that whole procedure, which is really nice. But I'm a big believer in magnesium, oral magnesium as well. And this community knows how important it is. So for people taking it, how would you start? Would you start, you add this to your regular regimen?
That's right. Depending on what oral magnesium you're taking, that will put a certain amount of taxation on your kidneys if it's not absorbing properly. You want magnesium going in that will very quickly assimilate into the body and be bioavailable to your cells and to your bones and to your muscles, because you like 80% of your central nervous system is monitoring just muscle movement. That's how sophisticated our body is. The other 20% is monitoring organ function and all the rest of the energetic parts of our body. So taking it orally, continue taking the oral magnesium, but make sure you're not taking a kind that will harm your kidneys, because certain magnesiums that have to go through the digestive tract, for example, if you have to take it for a laxative, that's really hard on you. There's many better ways of getting good quality bowel movements without having to hit yourself with like magnesium citrate. I don't touch magnesium citrate as a result of that. I'm not against it, because it's better than nothing and it does help people. But you can go above it. You can rise above that where you won't need that. And you can supply all these systems to your body much better. Your digestion does need magnesium, just like every function in your body, but it needs just the right amount. So if you are using it for a laxative, that means that you've got some issues that you need to deal with externally that you can easily work on and not need it. And you don't want to tax the kidneys. So when it's coming in through your microcirculation and going to the parts of the body immediately where it wants to go, your whole body is in a different world.
And as you mentioned, back to the black cumin seed oil, that can also help with constipation, correct?
Yes, definitely. It's amazing. Like, that's just so good. And that's why you don't overdo it either, because your body doesn't need more. Like, only if you're really sick, you'll do 3 teaspoons. You'll notice. But, the testimonies we have, we can't even publish on the feedback from the black cumin, most of them, because they would be making medical claims.
Wow. All right. The last thing, we could talk for hours because you have so many good things, but I wanted to share the most important. Now, the one I have not used, but it looks amazing. And I just, I test one thing at a time and make sure I like it and go to the next. But you want to talk about your Solaris? Because that sounds like it really could also help a lot of people.
Well, the Solaris showed up And it was like, I've had so many people ask me to promote their products or bring their products into activation and sell them to clients. And so I've gone through iterations of many things. Solaris showed up in 2016. And the way it showed up is I was on LinkedIn. I've been on LinkedIn since like when they first started, like 2011 or something. And the more you're on LinkedIn, the more people hit you with messages. And I don't have time. I can't answer all those messages. And this one individual, his name is Mike Carey. He's a wonderful guy. He's a missionary. He's a missionary down in South America. And lived in the United States most of his life. And he pinged me. He goes, it was a typical message. Hey, Ian, you're in the health space. I really want to promote something, present something to you. And I was deleting all the messages from everybody because I couldn't have my inbox filling up. And the third time, he was persistent. I deleted the first two messages without calling him, just like everybody else. And the third time was on a Sunday. And I was just on LinkedIn. I'm not usually on LinkedIn on Sundays, but I just happened to be. And I saw his name come up again, and I recognized it. And he had his phone number. And I thought I was going to delete it. And I thought, nope, I'm just going to call that number. I just felt inspired to call the number. And he picked it up right there. And he goes, Mike. I said, yeah, I'm just calling about this LinkedIn message. He goes, oh, what's your name? I said, Ian Clark. He goes, oh, I've been trying to get a hold of you for the last 5 months. And you weren't calling me back. I'm so glad you called me. And he said, I don't have anything to sell you. I'm not going to pitch you on anything. But what I want to tell you about is my experience. He said, I'm a strange person. I'm a missionary down in South America, but I help people on the phone. And when they phone me, I can diagnose from their voice that I listen to. I just get them to talk to me for a while, and I can tell what their problems are. And people have all these different health problems. And he said, I would, recommend this herbal remedy or that thing or this, and it would help them. But he said, this one thing, the Solaris, he said, it's an Ayurvedic blend. It's an ancient Ayurvedic blend of rosemary, clove, and thyme. That's the three primary things in it. He said, all I can tell you is this. Every single person that I give this to and tell them to get it gets remarkable results on so many things in their body. He said, I think you should check it out. I don't own the company. I don't sell the product. I don't get commission for this. I'm just felt that you would be a guy that I would love to have, because he said, I like the way you talk to people, and I think you could help a lot of people. So he said, and they're looking for investment. The company that's making this is looking for an investor right now, but I wasn't in a position to invest. And so anyway, I did call this gentleman, and it turned out that he weren't looking for investment anymore. And I said, well, what can I expect? And this guy told me, well, all I can tell you is for the last 6-7 years, we have been putting it only through doctors and naturopaths, medical doctors and naturopaths, and we get nonstop results, but we don't really have any marketing. Above that, we don't really have any marketing. We're not selling a lot of it, only through the word of mouth through these people. And I said, with me, I have to buy a whole bunch of the product, and then I have to share it with the audience. I don't sell it to them at all. I just give it to people who are really in the health space. And he goes, okay, perfect. So I only bought 12 bottles. I didn't buy a lot. I just started out with 12. And what I saw from those 12 bottles was so remarkable. And I'm not going to get into all that because we don't have time. But it was so remarkable that I bought 1,000 bottles. And then I just gave them out. And it would take us an hour to talk about all the things that happened in that, so I don't want to do that. But then in 2020, I took it very seriously. It took 4 years to get all the feedback. And so then we started to put it out in the market. So what it does, it has several functions. It also works externally, but it has a totally different work than the magnesium or the black cumin. What it does, it converts anything that's in your body that's foreign material that would be interrupting your body's function. Things like heavy metals, again, fungal infections, bacterial overgrowth, the things that are really compromising your immune system and your gut health. And it turns that material into inert matter so your body can just expel it without having to deal with it. So it doesn't make you feel sick. And I'll give you one example of what I saw it happen. I was told it does this, and this. I can't talk about those things because it's medical claims, but this one I can talk about. I was told to get rid of malaria and dengue fever immediately. And malaria is the biggest killer on the earth right now. More people die at an abnormal age from malaria. And third world countries is terrible. Kenya, example, India. Well, it turned out that a friend of mine in Irvine, California had access to a gentleman who was part of the government in Kenya who was very health conscious. And he found out about the fact that this should work. I didn't know if it was going to work. I had never tested it on malaria. I was just told. So I gave a very large amount of the product to my friend in Irvine. I said, I'll just donate it. He said, okay, I will get the government license. We'll get the license to do a clinical trial. I will get the doctors. I will pay for the test kits. They're $1 per kit, so they're not expensive. And you have to test for positive malaria and then test again to go negative. And so between November, December, and January and February of 2019 and 2020, that 4-month period, that's before we were selling in the market, they sent them down to Kenya. They did 4 clinical trials that involved 904 people. And there were different ages, different level of illness, different, health statuses. And 45% on each of these trials, approximately 45% of the people had 2 drops in a glass of water. They drank it and they were negative in 12 hours. The next 50% had to have 2 doses and then they were negative in 24 hours. And then the last 5%, last 10%, whatever, of the people had to have up to 5 doses. And it happened every time. They did it 4 times. The guy was like, this is too good to be true. So then that got the attention of the Kenyan government. And I was daunting because I thought, we're not a big producer. How much can we get? I don't know. But I was told, get ready, because then they started asking my company all these questions. It took a year and a half of us submitting documents and paperwork and certifications and all this stuff to the Kenyan government. And then in 2022, later 2022, they said, we're going to start putting orders in for 35,000 bottles a month. And I'm like, oh boy, okay. So we geared up, we bought a whole bunch of packaging, got all the raw material, and then everything went silent. We're like, I called my friend in Irvine, what's going on? We got all ready? He goes, I don't know. I'm not getting back to him. I'm not hearing from him. I said, okay, well, we'll just keep waiting. He goes, yeah, no, it's going to happen. It's going to be fine. It never, ever happened. Here we are in 2024. It never happened. He is not able to get a hold of that person. I don't know where the person is. I have no idea whether they retired or passed on or whatever. But that told me how powerful the product was on that kind of a thing. Now, we cannot publish that and say we have a clinical trial in the United States, because that's where you have to have a clinical trial. We could do one, but it costs a very large amount of money. But we're a small company, and we're trying to keep the costs very low, and we do not want to have this listed as a drug. So as soon as you start making a medical claim, it's now going to become a drug, and it becomes hyper expensive. Right now, it's super affordable. That little bottle you have right there lasts a long time. I mean, on a maintenance dose is a month's supply. But if you just kept it as an insurance program, I know people have bought it to go to all these countries where malaria is, and they never have an issue because it's a prophylactic, it's a preventative. But for us, we're not about chasing down malaria because it's too big of a thing and there's too many governments involved. And I think there's some kind of an agenda around it. But regardless, it is something that is profoundly effective, and it really does remove, and we get feedback constantly, people raving about the results. Now, it also works with dental. We've had people say that their teeth turned pearly white, like ivories, by just putting 3 or 4 drops in a little bit of water, swishing it around and swallowing it. And you can also brush your teeth with it. You'll see, Margie, if you put your toothpaste on it, whatever favorite toothpaste you've got, try not to have fluoride, obviously, and you put 1 or 2 drops on your toothbrush, and that will make a big difference for your dental health.
Oh, well, all right. Well, stay tuned, everybody, because now I'm gonna test that out, because he give me that as well. Wow, that's incredible. But so many people suffer with mold, and so many people suffer also. Heavy metals are a really big deal, and a lot of times you have it die off. Detoxing can be really uncomfortable. So what you're saying is that doesn't happen with this? Wow.
Exactly. And it's anti-parasitic. I can't say the other words, what it deals with, but
right.
It turns it into inert matter. That's the thing. It neutralizes it completely, and you have no Herxheimer effect, no healing crisis.
Wow. Oh, Ian, we can talk and talk. I mean, we met, what was it, like 2 years ago or a year and a half in Arizona? And
Yeah.
I'm so impressed because I was like, wow, you are just a wealth of knowledge. And I love what you've done. And I love the fact that your products are organic and the quality is so, so good. And there's no fillers and, all the things that I think are important because we want to trust what we're putting in our bodies. And I just, I thank you and your company for going that extra mile to make sure everything is just top notch. And, you really do a great job with that. So, yeah, so I'm excited for people to try this. And do you want to share a little bit about the discount that you're giving the community?
Well, there's an automatic discount if people buy more than one, or if they go on a continuity program, they're going to get a discount there. We have significant discounts on if they get 3 or 6. So most people do that. Yeah, but what they're going to get is a little coupon code that says Happy Bones 15. So no, whenever they come to the cart, there's going to be a little box that they're going to fill that in, and that's going to take another 15% off already good pricing. So they're going to get 15% discount. That'll give them a chance to try it. We also have a no conditions, no questions asked, money back guarantee for 60 days. And we'll even go longer than that, but we list 60 days. So yeah, it's a no risk factor. And I'm really excited for people to experience this because you'll see with the feedback you get, Margie.
Yeah, I can't wait. So please, please, please let me know because they really do work. I mean, everybody knows I don't make things up, and I never, ever let a person come on the podcast. Even Ian, who I've known for a while until I tried his products, like, nope, you cannot come on. I have to test these and make sure I like them before I let anybody come on. So, but I think what you've done is so wonderful, and there's so many health benefits. And yeah, so I can't wait for people to try. Well, any last minute things before we end?
Well, the one thing I always encourage people with is to build your self-esteem, build your self-worth, build your self-love, and that builds enthusiasm. And take full responsibility for your health as much as you possibly can. And we're here to provide the tools to everyone, the protocols, the knowledge. We'll just share as much as we can for you to have an amazing high-quality life and just feeling like nothing feels as great as feeling great. And so, yeah, to build that up for yourself. Your body is your number one asset. And you want to just be the best possible interface between you and the land of the living.
I love that, Ian. That was said so beautifully. Well, thank you so much for joining me. And I look forward to staying in touch. And I'm going to try some of the other things that I haven't tested yet. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Margie.
I hope you enjoyed my interview with Ian as much as I did. And now some new information about products that can make a difference for your bones and overall health. All the links that Ian talked about will be in the show notes. And make sure if you are interested to try one of these products that you use coupon code HAPPYBONES15 and you'll get 15% off. So thank you so much for tuning in, and also keep in touch with me. If you do try one of these products, I'd love to hear how it goes. So thanks so much, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.